crew review comes rushing onto centre stage, shoots up the place and then takes over the party with another top 10 list. So I've had this list requested several times over, as it seems that some of you want to hear more about video game characters that take the piss. So get ready for round 2 as we find out which characters, and in some cases factions, attempt to treat the player like a mug. Enjoy! The Sultan! Oh, we've got a good one to start off with. You know, when I came to put this list together, I was struggling to think of anything at the start, but after looking through my games collection, it all started to come back to me. The Sultan from the first Stronghold Crusader is one such character that I'm surprised I forgot about. Crusader 1 was bloody excellent if you ask me. Such a good RTS game, and I loved the castle building side of it too. Now, like with any other Stronghold game, there's a bunch of NPCs about, some of who you might find you'll be allied with, and some you'll find you'll be fighting against. The Sultan is one such NPC. When you're fighting him, he's all like, "The desert flower will grow strong from the ashes of your bones," and "Just as the sun sets, so too will your life end." So he talks big, right? Yeah, but his threats are always empty, as he'll issue you a threat, and then doesn't actually attack you. Now there's a reason why he doesn't attack you, but you'll only find out why this is when you decide to ally with him in a match. I swear this is all true. Every 10 minutes, he'll call you up and ask for resources. That's all he does. He'll call you up and go, "I am in need of supplies. Is it possible to send the following goods to me?" No. What you're in need of is my foot up your ass. Now stop trying to get me to run your own castle and do some work of your own for once. Preston Garvey. No, I'm not criticising Fallout 4. "Oh my god, he just said something bad about Fallout 4. Oh my god, oh my god." Grumble, grumble, grumble. Are we done now? Good, on with the list then. So Preston Garvey, ladies and gentlemen. Head of the Minutemen and supposed People's Champion. Wow, what a great man he is. He never stops. He'll wake up in the morning, walk around Sanctuary till nightfall and then goes to bed. A round of applause if you please. But if you go near him, he's all like, "Got some settlements that need your help. They're not going to last much longer unless you get there right now. I can't go because I've got to go see a man about a horse, if you know what I mean." No, I don't know what you mean. You mean you're going to wait till I'm gone and then you're going to have a nap. That's what's going to happen, isn't it? You must be tired from all those fucks you're not giving. Abstergo. Abstergo is an organisation that I'm amazed is still active. It's incredible how a multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical company that's really trying to locate the pieces of Eden can stay operational after producing no results in the years it's been active. Look, here's the thing. There are plenty of pieces of Eden around the world, so surely a good idea would be to gather up some archaeologists or some excavators and go for a jolly around the world, and hopefully then you'll find something. I'm sure Nathan Drake would be up for it. But no. Instead, Abstergo's answer is to either get Desmond, or some other random dickhead, to do all of the work for them, even though they know that this won't necessarily produce results. They're basically making you do all of the work, even though there's a good chance that what you're doing is going to end up being wasted time. Even worse are their actions after Assassin's Creed 1. They get a map of all the temple's locations right at the end of that game, and instead of going, "Templars, assemble!" they just go, "So now that we have what we're after, let's try to come up with a way to make it easier for us to obtain what we've already got."
Well, thank you, Nancy.
Like a true modern political party, they've missed the point by several million brain cells.
Lane Goodman.
Carget Carnet. Probably said that wrong. I've got the feeling that this only applies to me, but I'm interested to see if anyone else found this. The Carnet from the first Mount and Blade game just doesn't like me personally. I don't know if I said something bad about them to my friends or if I accidentally made fun of their way of life, but every time I join one of the other kingdoms and go on to be granted my first castle, if we're already at war with the Carnet, they'll go straight for me, or if we're not at war, the Carnet will declare war on us and then go for me. In one case, I joined the Nords and we ended up going to war with the Vigris? Probably pronounced that wrong as well. As a warder with a castle on the border of our kingdoms, a castle that I happened to conquer by the way, but anyway, the war was going our way thanks in no small part to me going post on half of the kingdom. But then the Khanate, who was also at war with this faction, declared war on us, gathered up the entire Khanate army and marched across 2 entire kingdoms just so that they could lay siege to my castle. And every time I beat them back, they just came back with more men. I eventually lost the castle to them, and you know what they did? They gathered up all of their men and went home. What the f*** is your problem, guys? Ever heard of the enemy of my enemy is my friend? On a real quick note, another type of NPC that takes the piss in this game is every noble figure. Either the king or another noble will give you a message to pass on to a different noble somewhere else on the map. They'll tell you who it's for and where to go, but I swear that the second they give you this message, does this particular noble find out that you're coming and f***ing runs for the hills. So by the time you reach your destination, this noble is nowhere to be found and no one knows where he is. And these missions have time limits. So in the end, you're just left in this random castle on the other side of the map, scratching your ass and wondering why you do these fucking missions in the first place. Even worse is when you return to the king to apologise for not being able to find this noble, only to find him standing right next to the king, and the king's all like, dude, he was here the entire time. Then why did you send me to the other side of the map when you could have literally passed the note to him yourself? Bastila Shan. I don't think she's doing it intentionally. But for fuck's sake, Bastila, are you trying to piss me off? Let's look at her track record. You spent ages looking all over Taris for her, trying to rescue her from captivity. When you finally do find her, she breaks out of her cage on her own. Then she stands back and lets you deal with most of the fighting that's coming your way. Then she'll begin to yell at you because fuck you. After that, she'll chew your ear off over every little thing, such as Jedi mind tricking someone into not making me pay a landing fee, despite the fact that I'm trying to save the galaxy, so show some bloody appreciation, will you? Sorry, I'm still not over that. Basically, the entire journey you take when trying to find the star maps would sound like fun, but the mood is always killed because unfortunately, the nagging wife won't leave you alone. And then, to add insult to injury, at one point she goes, "You know what, fuck it, I'm turning to the dark side." What? You've literally just spent the entire game yelling at me and telling me that what I'm doing is wrong, and then you have the audacity to go over to the dark side? Okay, yes, I know, Malik was responsible for that, but how am I supposed to take this bitch seriously when she won't get off my case, even for a second, and then goes and does something like fall to the dark side? She could have just told Malik to f*** off, it'd been that simple, and I was on my way to rescue her anyway. Which, by the way, she never thanks you for. Instead, she just tries to kill you. I don't dislike Bastila the Hun, and I actually think she's better than most characters here, but my god, does she take the piss. The Sergeant at Arms. Ah, Harvester. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this title as much as I did. It was so weird that I actually found myself liking it. You've woken up in a small rural town in what may be the 1950s, and you're not really sure what you should do. But after talking to enough people and finding out that you always were a kidder...
Well, you always were a kidder, Steve.
You're told to join the Order of the Harvest Moon. So you go to the lodge because that's where the order is, and you speak to the Sergeant at Arms who guards the gates. He tells you that if you want to join the order, then you'll need to undergo a series of tests. But the thing is that these tests are kind of a tall order. They start out a little on the harmless side by playing pranks, but then soon build up to full-on vandalism of other people's property, and in one case, burning down the local diner. But then I thought, why is this guy making me do all of these things? Since many members of the town are connected to the Order, then why am I targeting them during my initiation? Also, I failed to see how being able to torch a local restaurant is a required trait to join this Order. And that's when it hit me. This guy's taking the piss! He's pretty much coming up with this stuff on the spot and pretending like that's what everyone has to do.
Okay, right, so, to prove that you belong within the Order, you must first, bring me a steak sandwich, and then burn the house of those assholes who call me weird across the street. Yeah, that'll work.
But even worse than any of that is what happens the moment you join the Order. What a fucking acid trip that place is. The game turns into this bizarre survival horror game with events occurring that make no sense whatsoever. I feel like I've been made to commit countless acts of vandalism and arson just so that I could become depressed with the rewards. Bosco! Now, I love Bosco. I think he's hilarious as fuck. That is, if fuck can be regarded as hilarious, but his entire existence is meant to take the piss out of you. His store isn't called Bosco's Inconvenience for nothing, you know. His store holds everything you could ever not need, doesn't have anything remotely useful, and even when it turns out that he does have a useful item, he tries to sell it to you for like millions and millions of dollars. And when you do somehow manage to get the money together, you find out that this supposed super high-tech piece of equipment is actually handmade out of used toilet roll, a broken toothbrush, tape, and an expired lottery ticket. Bosco, what the actual f***? But it doesn't end there. In the final episode of the first series of Telltale Sam and Max, it turns out that Bosco actually did have all the items you were after the entire time. It's just because you didn't ask for them directly, he never told you they were on sale. Don't worry though, in the second series he gets turned into a cow. Ha! Revenge! But don't worry Bosco, I don't have beef with you anymore. Sarah Lyons and Moira Brown. I can't decide which of the two is the worst. You see, Moira Brown is intentionally sending you to places where you're most likely going to be killed, and she's asking you to injure yourself severely just so that she can study you whilst you're writhing in pain, but that's about as far as she goes. Sarah Lyons, on the other hand, is not a problem for most of the game, but then suddenly at the end she's all like, right, we need someone to go in there and insert this chip so that the capital wasteland can have clean water. But whoever goes in there is going to die, so we need a volunteer. Ah, the player. Nicely volunteered. And you're just standing there like, I didn't say anything? And then she's like, but you'll die if you go in there. Are you sure you really want to do it? No, I don't want to do it. Okay, fine, player. I won't stop you. Go in there and become a martyr to our cause. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. And I don't know about you, but when I was in that situation, I was all like, well, what's stopping you from doing it? In fact, I always made her do it, purely because she was taking the piss in ordering me around for a third of the game, and then telling me to kill myself at the end of it. No, f*** off. If you want pure water that badly, then why don't you kill yourself? I come across that stuff all the time. Doesn't bother me if we have it or not. Any Panopticon. It's debatable whether this one should be on this list, because the whole premise of this game is that they're supposed to be taking the piss. But Jesus Christ, does every Panopticon in Freedom Wars take the piss. In this game, global society has collapsed and the world's resources are almost gone. Communities have come together and formed what is known as Panopticons, one of several societies that revolves around every citizen contributing something to their continued survival. If you don't contribute anything, then you're thrown into prison with a sentence of 1 million years slapped onto your head. The only way to reduce this sentence is to go out on missions and contribute to the community. Not only that, but when you're first thrown into prison, almost every right is taken away from you, including sleeping lying down, being able to leave the confines of your cell, and talking to other inmates. Now, whilst I think that this is a fantastic setting, and the atmosphere is so awesome, I do feel that whoever is running the show is a massive bellend. How can being socially useless earn me 1 million years in prison? Humans can't even live a small fraction of that time. Why not make it like 200 years instead? It's not like anyone is going to serve out that time and then walk away at the end of it. Okay, so for completing missions, you get, say, a few hundred years taken off your sentence, but that's nothing in the grand scheme of things. Even the most talented of inmates have only been able to reduce their sentence down by a few 100,000, and they've been doing this for decades. Your society's bitch, and despite your best efforts, you're made to feel bad about it regardless, so all of those societies are taking the piss in my eyes.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the side and said I'm angry.
Sergeant Foley! You knew this was coming. Ramirez do everything is a phrase that we're all familiar with. Now, I understand that if someone has to do some cool shit in any video game, then that right should go to the player, I'm not denying that at all. However, if your boss is telling you to do everything all the time, regardless if it's something big or something small, and when there are plenty of other people around, then you begin to feel like this guy is just taking the piss. Sergeant Foley from Modern Warfare 2 could be the best example of this. I found out, whilst looking online, that during the course of this game, Foley gives you about 56 orders in total, and if you take into account what is happening during each mission, then you might as well come to the conclusion that every task, every strategy, and every objective is being carried out by you. The rest of your team may as well not show up because, as it stands, I'm the one holding off the enemy forces, whilst taking out their airborne and armoured divisions, while setting up a tactical strike beacon, all the while having a hyped up petty officer stand over me going, "Ramirez! No! Okay? Just no. Get someone else to do something for a change. Or is it that you can't actually remember any of their names and you only know mine? Just go get someone else to do something. Or better yet, get one of the others to tag me out so I can focus on shooting bad guys, because I think I just heard one of them mention Alan's snack bar, and I don't like the sound of that." Well, we look at that, we're out of time. But if you've been to Alan's snack bar, then like this video and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to check out Twitter to find out which video will be out next, and there's also Patreon if you'd like to support me. See ya!
Sometimes I think this life is killing me. Sometimes I think this life is killing me.